Donnie Darko is a psychological thriller focusing on a teenager's psyche during supernatural events. Throughout the years, it's garnered a large cult following, particularly among teenage adolescents and young adults. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal as Donnie Darko and his sister as his sister, as well as Jenna Malone as Gretchen Ross. This video will explore questions and themes within this film. This video essay assumes you've already consumed this piece of media, and if not, I implore you to do so. Hopefully you will learn something and enjoy. What does one do with ultimate power? And what is power? Is it the ability to change the future? Knowledge of all? Knowledge of the future, possibly? These are the questions Donnie are faced with, despite being surrounded by a world that doesn't believe him. Darko is a troubled young man suffering from possible schizophrenia while exhibiting aggressive tendencies. This makes his story more unbelievable when he tells others about his sightings. It's very akin to the boy who cried wolf, but instead of him purposely telling falsehoods, it is his mind playing tricks on him. So, when the world doesn't believe you, you must take matters into your own hands, and that is precisely what Donnie does. He acts as a sort of prophet for knowledge and a martyr for action. He does his due diligence in researching and educating himself on the circumstances he finds himself in. We see this with the questions he asks the science teacher, the books he reads by Grandma Death, and his overall knowledge of literacy. And in fact, he uses this in his mission, flooding the school, axing the solid bronze statue, burning Patrick Swayze's house, and cellar door. A cellar door, despite all other combinations of the English language, was primed as the most beautiful of them all. Before creation comes destruction, yet another large theme within this film. It is a tremendous philosophical idea used in countless works of art and media. But does it hold any weight of truth in this picture? I'd argue yes, but not in the exact terms you'd expect. The vandalism of his school leads to the conversation between him and Gretchen, ultimately birthing his relationship between himself and Gretchen. But this leads to her death. Now, if you don't know, within this film's lore, the survival of Donnie Darko led to the birth of a parallel universe that still had Donnie alive. But after the death of Gretchen, Darko goes back in time and allows himself to get crushed by the jet engine, allowing the life of Gretchen to live on. This is somewhat convoluted and has a few time paradoxes, but the main message is that before creation comes destruction, whether in one sense or another. The delineation between reality and illusion is oftentimes horrifying, and this notion stays true for Donnie Darko, a schizophrenic male teen on pharmaceutical drugs who exhibits aggressive moods is a cocktail of disaster. So it is no wonder why others feel he is going more disruptive and delirious as the story goes on. But on the whole, one's psyche is of the utmost importance alongside physical well-being. That's why it is so dangerous to lose thyself. But does Donnie ever lose himself? Well, this film starts after Darko is ingesting the medication already. We never see him before the drugs. But it is safe to say he was experiencing some tendencies before the medication, or else he would have never needed them to begin with. So, we have a mentally unstable teenager as a lead, being given medication while experiencing illusions from the mind and supernatural events. It is entirely possible that this movie was all made in the mind, a figment of the imagination, or possibly a flash of Donnie's dream before his death. All of these are valid explanations for the events that take place in this film, and the reason and final decision are based on the viewer's interpretation of this material. So, I'll let dreaming dogs dream. Now let's move to the last major theme within this film. The ideas of destiny and choice don't coincide with one another, being direct opposites, and Donnie Darko tries to analyze and question both.
Well, each vessel travels along a vector through space-time along its center of gravity.
Like a spear.
I beg your pardon?
Like a spear that comes out of your chest.
Sure, yeah. And in order for the vessel to travel through time, it's got to find a porthole, or in this case, a wormhole, or...
Well, could these portals just appear anywhere, anytime?
I think that's highly unlikely. No, I think what you're talking about is, an act of God.
Well, if God controls time, then all time's pre-decided.
I'm not following you.
Like, every living thing follows along a set path. And if you could see your path or channel, then you could see into the future, right? Like, that was a form of time travel.
Well, you're contradicting yourself, Donnie. If we were able to see our destinies manifest themselves visually, then we would be given a choice to betray our chosen destinies. And the mere fact that this choice exists would make all preformed destiny come to an end.
Not if you travel within God's channel.
And I feel this is a great question to bring up and dissect. Within this world, fate is a construct. We can see this with the chess spirit manifesting the individual's future choices. But we can also see that it can be altered to change the course of time. When we see Darko go back in time to get himself killed by the jet engine. Or was his fate all along to sacrifice himself to prevent his girlfriend from meeting him, which then saves her life? It's up for your discretion. But it is an important discussion. And just like what the teacher said, if Donnie could see his or others' future, would that mean he could act differently with his foresight than breaking destiny? I'm not entirely sure what Donnie meant by when traveling through God's channel, but with this and the ending of the film, I think this notion of fate and destiny is debunked at the end of his mission. He rewinds time, saving Gretchen, but ending himself, being the final nail in the coffin. This essentially proves that no matter the circumstances, you have control over your outcome. It's not dictated by God, or in this case, Jack in a bunny suit. You can be led astray or be off the path, but there's always a way back to self-autonomy. And that is where I think I'll end this discussion. We've learned much from the story, from the burden of knowledge, to the perception of one's reality, and finally the question of fate versus agency. Leave your thoughts down below, and make sure to stay for the next video, and have a good life.